And good evening and welcome to Monday Night Live. How are you? I'm Steve Leahy. This is Monday. We do things. I was going to work on the Corvette painting. I'll get to that in a minute. But I thought I would just have a little bit more fun or a little bit different fun tonight. So we're going to work on that Spraygunner airbrush holder. I think that'll be a little bit fun, a little bit more fun, and I'll explain why in a second. But welcome everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Hopefully your Monday is treating you well. It's not a billion degrees here, although I have every fan and the air conditioner on because it's still super gross here. So I hope you're cool, and I hope your summer's going good, unless you're Steve Parsons, and in that case, happy winter. Huge thanks last week to Honey for her sticker, super sticker. That was amazing. Thank you so much. What else we got? I have 2 paintings to show you tonight. I was a little bit better. I didn't quite get back to 3, and I certainly didn't get back to 5, but I got 2 to show you, which is good, and we'll give one of those away. Super important. Today is the last day of the sale. Summer 25 will get you 40% off everything on the store. So if you're thinking about a 543, if you're thinking about a real painting or print or whatever, go do it today. Today is the day. Take care of that. I'll leave that up too so you guys can see it. And that's it. That's all I got. So we'll jump right into it, and we'll get rolling. So let me switch over to here. We'll look at the painting. I'll also talk a little bit about the Corvette, and I'll say hi to everyone. Brian Moore, what's up? Dan Mayer, what's up? Mr. Ian Hart, hello. Oh, is it Toasty in the UK too? Hey, Patricia, what's up? Wayne, what's going on? And Michael McClung, what's happening? Alrighty. So here's a Corvette painting, and this is, it's not quite where we left off last week because I started working on it during the week. But what you'll notice is I took off the masking around the headlights or the actual lenses of the lights. And that's pretty common practice. I think it was Brian last week asked a question about, how much paint buildup is there when you mask like this. One of the reasons I take mask off as soon as I can is so there is no buildup. Like if I run my finger across here, I can feel where the paint, the red paint stops and the where the red paint stops. But it's not terrible, and once I get the paint on the lenses, you won't feel it. So that's important in the end when I put the clear coat on it, the UVLS. If there's a bunch of ridges and edges, you'll see all that, but you really won't. But that's not why we're not working on this tonight. I started, whoa, as I drop it. I started working on, more of the details that we were working on last week, trying to get that dark color in. And as most of these paintings go, as I'm digging into this, I'm realizing that there's a lot more going on than originally is that you can see. And that's great. That's great for a painting because that's what I want. I want you to look at this and see the car, but it has to be realistic and it has to make you feel like you're there. Well, there's a lot that goes into that to make that even in the photograph, and I'm going to show you that in a second. So we've got the local color, this red that we talked about, and then I kind of faded it away here because there's going to be a lot of clouds and stuff up here and the asphalt down here, the reflection and all that. But the stuff that's going on in the red right here, even in just the regular local color, which would be nice if it was just red. It isn't, and I'll show you that. There's a lot going on. There's purples and all kinds of other stuff. So let me switch over to here real quick, and I'll show you a close-up of that headlight. Let me move this over here, and then you guys will be able to see it. So that's the headlight. As you can see on there, pretty much there's very, very, very few spots where the local color is just there. And that's great for the painting because it means the painting is going to be super complex and it's going to be crazy, but when you step back, it's just going to look like a car and it's going to be fun. But do you see you can certainly see it up above the light on the hood of the car where that real pale blue kind of starts showing up from the sky reflection. Well, that pale blue, that purpley blue color is down low in the bottom section too. So there's a lot going on in this, and that's fine. But what I find is when I do really super complex things on the feed, I don't get much done, and I don't know that makes a tremendously interesting live stream. So that's why I kind of put the brakes on this for a minute. I'll figure out a good, something fun to do on this. Maybe some of the details when I get there, or maybe address some of those super crazy colors that are going on in there. But that's kind of where I was at with this one. So I didn't want to I mean, now you can see it totally. You get this bright red color as opposed to, you know, what it really is, which is like this maroony, purpley, everything going on, highlights and all that. So anyway, so that's why we're not doing this tonight. But I will definitely get back to this, and I'll do this with you guys. It definitely seems like you guys were into it. I wonder if I get comments over there. I do this every week. I get the super lag on my tablet, which I don't understand why, but whatever. Me. But when I just refresh, it comes back. There we are. Okay, good. All right, last day of sale, I get that. Thanks to Honey, she's awesome. All right, so let's look at the 2 new paintings, and then we'll get flying right away. And there's Honey. Honey, thank you so much. You're amazing. See, I'm glad I got this to work out. And we got a whole bunch of other people. Yay! That I haven't said hi to yet. Brian Moore still has a wrench. We're going to leave him with the wrench for a bit because I want to get going. And the way you get to be a moderator is all you got to do is be a member, and then we randomly pick someone. So there we go. Hello, Grumpy. What's up? Ria, what's happening? Robert O'Malley, what's good? There's Steve Parsons. Good morning, Steve. All right. If I missed anyone, I will catch up with you. But if I did miss you, say hello again. All right. So let's do these. I have 2 of them for you today. One of them is from a few weeks ago, actually. I had it all ready to go, and I didn't get to it, so I decided to do it now. This one comes to us from Jeff Simon. Yes, Brian has the power. All right, I know I'm working on it, Grumpy. You sound like, God. Nice. All right, I don't know what's wrong with me. All right, so Jeff Simon, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I was totally sidetracked. Yeah, I was going to say, man, my brain is fried. Brian, I was going to say you sound just like Gary, so that's good. All right, here we go. So Jeff last week or a few weeks ago asked for a Super Duty, and immediately when I hear Super Duty, I think of the truck, but it isn't. This is the 1973 Trans Am 455 Super Duty. And not only is it Super Duty, but it's super dark. Let's try that a little bit better. So in 1973, the Trans Am saw the introduction of such amazing upgrades as Buccaneer Red and Brewster Green were introduced into the color scheme. But what was really awesome about that year was that they introduced the L75 455 motor, the LS2. So this all hand-assembled motor found its way into this car, and it was called the Super Duty. It produced about 290 horsepower, and would have only set you back another $550 back then. So I'm a big fan of Firebirds and Trans Ams and all that. My first car was supposed to be a Firebird or a Trans Am, like a late 60s model, but I couldn't find one in my meager paper route budget. So I ended up with a Mustang, which is good too. But there you go. So that's a Super Duty, and I call that Super Duty. I know, shocker, right? What else we got? Dan. Thanks, Dan. All right. And if you're a member here, you've already seen this because you would have seen the time lapse for tomorrow. But this is the time lapse for tomorrow. And this comes from your friend and mine, Sideshow Bob. So Brother Robert asked for a tall ship coming through the mist. I decided to take a decidedly piratey view of this one. And this is how this one came out. So if you want to see how I did this with the fog and everything, it'll be on the Time Lapse Tuesday video tomorrow at 10 a.m. So you can just check it out then, or if you are a member, you would have already seen it. But that's kind of how that came out. There's no story behind this. It was just a cool painting to do. It was fun, and there you go. Patty, I did get your message. Hopefully you got my message back. Patty, I couldn't find that painting at all, so I think I don't know if I mistitled it or what, but help me out with that, and we will right that ship, so to speak. Get it? Yeah, Gary, it's funny you say that. I paid $1,200 for my 1966 Mustang in 1985. Now, that being said, the car was probably worth about $500. It was completely rotted underneath, and It was a mess, but I loved it. It made me happy. All right. So if you would like to win one of these paintings, you cannot tonight because that's already done. But if you want to win one next week, all you got to do is do what all these lovely people have been doing and type 543 and give me a suggestion. That's all you got to do, and then you're in. So we have 8 fantastic people on the list tonight. One of those lucky people is going to walk away with something, and that's what we got. Did I mention today's the last day of the sale? Did I also mention that I only have 2 beers left in my refrigerator? So by supporting your local artist, you will help him buy more beer. But tonight's is Birdfish. Birdfish is the brewery. They're in Columbiana, Ohio. I love this place. So very cool. And their go-to beer is Too Hip to Sip. So it's their hazy IPA. So that's tonight. What else we got? Yeah, Gary, I couldn't take it through a car wash because it would rain inside the car. I also couldn't drive it on the highway because the rear end was rotted so bad that it felt like above like 50 miles an hour, it felt like the whole thing was going to fall apart, because it probably would have. But it still goes down as one of my favorite cars ever. I love that car. All right, we're working on the the Spraygunner thing, but I have to show you this. You guys know that I like making stuff out of garbage, and tonight is no exception. I had that little stand last time for this, and it didn't really work because stuff kept moving around, and so I had an extra camera holder. So I made this. Look at this. So it's a little camera holder, and I made a little stand for my thing like that. And then I grabbed a jumbo neodymium magnet and put it there. So now this thing sticks on here like that. Like that. And I can loosen this thing, and then I can move this around anywhere I really want to. How's that? Spin it, do it. Now, I know what you're saying. Steve, can I buy one of those from you? No, because I made it out of crap I had lying around here. I don't even know where this stuff comes from. Well, the good news is now you guys are going to get a good view of this. So I'm going to move some cameras around. What we're going to do tonight is we're just going to work on the skull for this, because I want this little dude to feel like he was like underwater for a long time, and so we're gonna mess with this. We'll put this here. What else we got? Necessity is the mother of invention. Honey, it's more like I have to get this done and I don't have time to order something, so there you go. You're to have to be proud of unique engineering. Gary, I don't know if proud is the right word, but thanks. Oh, man. All right. This is going to be fun. All right, let me, what I'm doing is you can't see it. It's right off the side here. I'm just adjusting the close-up cam so that you guys will get something that will work for tonight. You guys will be right there too, so it'll be good. And I'm gonna get some lights on this that are gonna work. How's that? Ooh, nice. I'm gonna change the exposure so you guys can really see what's going on. So many things. Let's get you guys lightened up a little bit. Yeah. Now, this is washed out, crazy, but it's going to show up when I start painting the other thing. So there we go. What else we got? I know, grumpy. The list is, it's getting there. What if I wait? Actually, what if I do more like this? This is so nice. Actually, this is kind of a goofy thing, but it really does work. Shockingly, I bought this little mount because I needed a camera mount, like real short, but it didn't work for that. So I'm glad I saved it. All right, let's get to it. So again, if you missed the beginning of this, when I did the which are all washed out now, but I did. Well, let me do this for you so you can see it. Oops. There we go. So when I did the little tentacles there, that's what we worked on last time, but we worked on the other side. So again, this is base coated black with Autoborn Sealer Black, and I do that because it adds a bunch of really cool shadows right out of the gate. And you'll see that as we get going with the skull, because we'll be able to do some fun stuff with that. Raul, what's up? Steve, you just Scotch Brite that and then spray Autoborn sealer. Michael, I didn't even Scotch Brite it. The Autoborn sealer, this was pretty smooth the way it was, and I knew it'd have lots of texture on it, so I was going to try to clean up all the little 3D layers and stuff, but then I'm like, Steve, how much time do you really want to spend on this? You know what I mean? Is this going to be like a $8,000 airbrush holder? And so I decided not. So anyway, yeah, you could have sanded this and then gone for it, but the beauty about that sealer is it sticks to everything. Smooth, rough, doesn't matter. So I just sprayed it with the black sealer. I mean, there's a couple spots that I kind of cleaned up a little bit, but not much more than that. All right, thanks, Raul. All right, so for the skull color, I have this. This is actually the base color, one of the base colors that I was messing with the cue ball, but it's a neat color. I call it hard boiled because it looks like a hard boiled egg yolk, and it's one of those things that I mixed it up for the cue ball, but it didn't match. I'm going to switch back to this camera because it's a better color match because it's not so washed out. So you see the difference. I don't know if you can see the difference even there. This is the cue ball color, and this is the other color I mixed up. It just had a green cast to it, a green tint to it that I didn't like for the cue ball. I was trying to match cue ball color when I was doing this. So this one, it was too good not to, just keep. So I'm using it for stuff like this, which is good. All right. So now to get this stuff on, we're going to start with, I think I'm going to start with the Eclipse CS, this one. This is a regular CS 0.35. The only difference is it has a very cool David Naylor. No, I'm sorry, not David Naylor. What am I saying? Dave G nozzle cap on it, which I've been working with for about 6 months now, and it's been a blast. So, but this is nice because it's 0.35, so it'll be able to move this stuff at a little bit thicker clip. Just getting the water out of this. Which is what I want. I want to get some coverage out of it. You got it. Okay. I'm just checking the comments here. And let me jump back to this one now. So what we'll do is I'll kind of concentrate maybe on one part of it again and see how it goes. What we want is to be able to get something done tonight. You know what I'm saying? All right. So I'm going to add a little bit of, that's the color in there already. And I'm adding some 40-50 and 40-21. So this is 1 to 10. So it's mostly reducer in this, but it's got a little bit of 40-50 in it too. And that just helps it keep its body. Mix that up, see what we got. I do want it kind of thick because I do want it to cover, but I also want some control out of it too. All right. Yeah, when I was working on the Corvette, it was like going super slow this morning, and I'm like, yeah. It's just going to be like, doing a couple hits, and then, the feed will be over. There won't be much to it. Get this to spray a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with thinking about the highlights. So the highlight really is right at his forehead, along the brow ridge, his cheekbones, and things like that. And I'm going to start there. That's where I'm going to get the opacity. That's where I'm going to get the full color. Now, when I'm done with this, it'll be like the Corvette. I'll have a lot of this covered anyway. But the thing is there will be spots like in the eye sockets and underneath the cheekbones and things like that that will still have a lot of that black base coat. As I spray this now, I can see all the topography of the 3D print. Now I do kind of wish I'd sanded it off, but that's okay. Again, how much time am I going to allot to this? I think I thinned this out too much, which is it's not bad. It gives me a lot of control over it, but it's also going to take a little bit more time to cover. Is that too bright for you guys? Let me try knocking this down just a little bit because the highlights are just as bright. And we'll try to move the regular lights so that they're not. Yeah, that's better. So now as I move those lights, now you can see the paint on his forehead. So when I do that, you get all the reflections. But we'll get there. We'll figure it out. Honey, yay. Look at all the cool 543s. All right, good. Yeah, keep making those suggestions. If you're new here, welcome. All you got to do is do that 543 and then give me a suggestion to paint. And you are in for a win next week. Now, I'm not worried about the tentacle up here, which is just off the camera. I am, however, worried about this guy right here. I don't want to get stuff on that. So we'll deal with that when we get there. Again, thinking about the light. You know, light's hitting right straight down, I think, on this dude. And I want to get these areas where the highlights are to opacity just to see how they look first. And again, I'll block off the light. You can really see it coming together. All right, so the temple, the ridge right above the temple, I'm going to add a little bit to that. And I'm going to turn this when we get to the side. So, because what I don't want to do is I don't want to try to get at something at a weird angle, because what happens is you end up forcing it and then you end up getting, I mean, one of the, you know, I don't paint miniatures, I don't, you know, but what I have seen from a lot of these painters is this real directional painting thing. So they'll actually aim it as if the paint is the light, and it just naturally forms these highlights, which are great. So that is great, but again, if I try to hit this at a weird angle, I'm going to get a weird angle feel with the light too as well. So I want to be careful to just kind of do what I can do, and then we'll move it when we get a second. That's probably a good place to stop and move it. But again, with my super fancy holder, I just loosen this screw and it loosens the ball joint there. And now I can just turn this thing like that and then tighten this one again and it just stays. I know, you're astounded, you're amazed, you're like, get on with it. Todd, what's going on? What's good? Yay, all right. All right, so now I got to deal with making sure that I don't get anything on this tentacle. So the easiest way to do that, and the safest way for me, is still by using like freehand shields. So the nice thing about these freehand shields, they're designed for, when you're working flat, you just find the curve or edge that matches what you want to block off. But this also works on three-dimensional things. So if I want to find, maybe this one isn't the right one. Maybe I'll have to grab another one. But what you can do is you can find the curve that fits over the thing you want to protect, like for instance that tentacle. So now I can just kind of go to town on the top of this skull right here and fade it down, and I don't have to worry about getting any real overspray on this. Now, is it 100% perfect? No. But you know what? For this one, it is what it is. There are multiple ways to do this. I could, again, this is a little bit more dangerous because I'm, dealing with adhesive, but I could also, get a little piece of tape and do the same thing, just kind of block it off like that. I kind of shy away from tape even now, even though the paint is really, really good, meaning it sticks really well. I'm always worried about thin layers of paint being really fragile and coming off. Oh, I love all the texture in this thing, all those weird veiny things. He's going to have a bunch of moss or coral, not coral, but a coral-like thing growing on him. So yeah, we're going to have some fun. Like I said, what I think I'll do is I'll concentrate on like half of his head. That way we kind of get a bunch done. Instead, normally what I would do is I would like spray this everywhere it's going to be. But in this case, we'll just get to the fun stuff. All right, so again, make sure we got Any of that going on. Work in light layers so you don't have a blowout like I did. Incidentally, not only does working in light layers give you more control over the paint and the brush, it also helps the paint stick better too. If you're working in light layers, those light layers really have a chance to get in everywhere and bond to what you're working on. Where if you hose this thing down, you have a real thick wet coat, and if it doesn't really hold on the way you had planned, you could end up, again, you go put adhesive on it and it pulls it right up. All right, let's get the side of his nose done here. So now you get this really cool, like, kind of shadow that goes into between the tentacle and the skull, which is great. I'm not super worried about this one up here because I don't have any paint on it yet. Same thing with the strap for the mask here. And I hand painted the strap down here to give it kind of a leather, grimy look. And that worked out really well. So good. I think that's good. I do have to get some paint down on the cheek underneath here too. So we might as well do that and see what we can come up with. Whoa, no, that's not the right one to move. It's this one. I will refocus too once I get it set up. Oh, this is awesome. My little rinky-dink Mickey Mouse holder. But it's working. Kelly Drake, if I didn't say hello. Hello, Kelly Drake. What is up? Kelly's still in the running to win one. Grumpy's in the running. Ian, of course, is in the running. James won last week, I think. All right. Same thing in here. Like you see where I stopped painting the band. So I could just kind of spray this in, but I did a good job on that band there. I don't really want to get paint on that. So these things are also nice and flexible too. So you can kind of tuck them in. And again, if I wasn't lazy, I'd grab like another one that would probably fit better, but we'll make this work. Unless I really want to do that, which I kind of really do. I'll grab another one here. I happen to have one of the Scott McKay shred templates. I usually have them right on my workbench, but when I was working on the dollar bill painting, I put them all away, except for a couple that I was using, which I should show you that. That's fun. So maybe one of these will have a good one. This is the shred template, which is fun. So I'm looking for something I can kind of tuck in that corner there. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to block where I'm spraying, I know you probably can't see it because everything's in the way, including my fat head. So the good news is about this cheekbone here, I just got to get paint on the top side of it and then just kind of a little bit down the bottom. Because it's going to have that same feel. So that's about enough for the whole thing. Now I can just concentrate on the area like along his cheekbone. And this brush with this, the 0.3 and the thicker paint, I don't really have to, if I take it real slow like this and I'm really close to that surface, I don't really have to worry about getting overspray on the tentacle because, I'm putting it on so lightly and I'm so close, there's nothing going on there. And, if there was a little bit of overspray, that's fine. In fact, it helps tie things together. If everything's super masked off and, really sharp everywhere, it feels fake, Lovely. What I might do, don't hold me to this, but when this is done, I may contact Spraygunner and we might be able to work out a giveaway for this. So again, if I change my mind, don't be mad at me, but that just hit me. That might be fun. All right, good. I'm happy with that. And I'm going to leave that right there because I can always add more, but it's tough to take away. You guys know that. So I'm going to leave the skull color in this brush because I'm not going to really use that brush for anything immediately. Now, next thing I want to do, let me mess with some of the black now, I think. And I will check comments while I'm... a reverse silhouette. Wait, I missed that. Man, it's, nice, Grumpy. Is it hot over there? We are having heat wave. Yeah, it's brutal over here too. We actually got a break today. It was mid 80s today with a breeze. We got some rain yesterday, but yeah, last week was crazy hot and humid too. So it was nuts. But yeah. And I need Brian to come over and take a look at my air conditioner too. We have an ancient air conditioner house, you know, central air, and it's not a big fan of the weather we've been having. So, all right. So next up is black, and I'm going to try the infinity for this because I don't use this brush as much as I should. It's a blast, and since this was part of this thing. I got this when I got the Infinity. I got this airbrush holder at the same time from the fine people at Spraygunner, and this brush was a thank you for doing the Antonov 225. I want to say model, but it's more of a puzzle, more of a 3D thing for them. So if you want to check that out on their page, on their YouTube page, I did a whole video of me painting that. So this was a thank you that they sent to me for this. So it's good. So it's got black in here. This is super reduced. It's 1 part paint to 10 parts reducer. And what we're going to use for this is just kind of start messing around with inside the eye socket, because I did get some overspray in there. So we're going to kind of darken that up. Now this brush is ridiculous. So actually, I don't know if you can see it. This brush is ridiculous. It's like the Micron B. So this I don't need any masking material for. I can just kind of go for it. What I miss? I'm trying not to put my head in the way. You know what I'm going to do? Why don't I just do that, Steve? I'll just move the comments over to me instead of putting my fat head in the way all the time. Wait, what's going on with Ian? What? No one should be working on the roof, Ian. Holy crap. All right, now you guys can kind of see what's going on. So all I'm doing, where there was overspray inside the eye socket, which is not uncommon because as I hit the nose, that spray just ran right into the eye socket. And that's fine. Like I said, that's kind of expected. So I can just kind of pull that back out or push it back in, as the case may be. But with this black too, now, I mean, again, I'm just messing around and having some fun. I can start building up a little bit of texture on this too, just by kind of adding some, you know, like highlighting some of the cracks that are on here. And also, you know, kind of running around the tentacle. Sooner or later, I'm going to call it a testicle, I'm just saying. And it's not going to be my fault. I was thinking about putting those blue lines on his skull too, but I'm not going to because I think it'll be too much. Plus, I think it'll take away from the tentacles. Oh, dear God. Grumpy's cooking curry tomorrow. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, definitely, you guys. If it's super hot, everyone except for Steve, because Steve's in the middle of winter right now, so he's fine. Well, Steve got to stay warm. But, yeah, just do the right thing. Stay safe. All right, so we'll get a little bit of shading down in these other areas. Again, remember the base coat does a lot of the heavy lifting for this. So as I just, you know, didn't really put too much paint down in there, I already got this nice shadow kind of built up. And you can see it around the back too here. So that's all great. It really works well. It makes it super fast. Same thing down on this cheekbone. I think I'm going to add some kind of some extra texture. And if you've ever seen, I mentioned it before, if you watch David Naylor, David uses this brush and can do some ridiculous things with it. Signs his name like smaller than you could write with a pencil or a pen. Mr. Patrick, what's up, Mr. Cheese Grits and NyQuil? Oh, Ian, you're a good grandpa. That's awesome. All right, I don't want to do too much of this texturing with the black. I want to switch to a different brush. So I'll just kind of knock in a few more of these darker areas with the black, and then we'll switch to, I'm definitely thinking like, what do we got? Green or yellow? Let's start with yellow. And we'll use the micron for this so I can bounce back and forth. What color yellow? Sienna. No, yellow ochre. Michael, I've been keeping up on your latest painting. I love it. I got to get, man, again, the weekends have been so stupid, but I got to get over there. It's funny because no matter where I am, I get the notification that you're live, and it kills me when I'm like driving or whatever, but I'll get back on it. All right, so this is yellow ochre, which is one of my favorite yellows, and I have this pretty much, I mean it's reduced, but it's pretty much out of the bottle. Hold on one second, I just dropped a chunk of paint in here, which I want to get out because that's going to just give me problems later. All right, cool. So this is going to be bright yellow, really. Oh, good. Yeah, I think that was a great choice. And again, Michael, when you do that on a real painting, like it gives the actual physical paintings we talked about last week, gives the physical painting such a different. It elevates it a lot more than you could ever show with a photograph. You know what I mean? Because it's going to have this life to it that's just going to be awesome. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Again, it's tricky, like we talked about. When you put that metallic on a painting, it makes it really hard to do some other things. But yeah. All right, so this is yellow, yellow ochre. So again, it's a very bright color when you put it on. So I'm just going to kind of pick and choose where I put this. I'm going to kind of like add this more in as a texture and mix it in with the darker color down here. Again, I want to be careful not to get this on the tentacle. But if I get a little bit on there, I'm okay. I'm not worried too much about that. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll give Artem a call once I get this a little bit farther, and we'll find a way to work out some kind of joint giveaway thing for this guy. Brother Robert, what is up, buddy? All right, so same thing. I'm going to leave the highlights, so I'm not going to put that yellow on the highlights. I'm just going to kind of dig this in as it gets to the darker spots. Maybe highlight some of these, whatever these veiny textures are. And again, add more of that. I'm going to add green to this. I'm going to add some, I don't know. I want to say coral, but it's going to be more like fungus. Now yellow ochre is transparent, so as I kind of tuck it in underneath this testicle, as I tuck it in underneath there, it's going to kind of disappear, which is really fun. You can do a lot of great stuff with this. So when it's on top of another color, like on this bone color, it becomes very, very bright. But where it's kind of being tucked in underneath, you lose it. You don't even see it. So it kind of turns a weirdish green, and then it just disappears. So again, and this is the fun part about having a limited palette. So when you're looking at, buying all these colors, I always tell people, stick to a few colors to start and really get to know those colors, and then move on. Say, okay, this yellow is great, but it's not, it's not perfect for X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? And then look for another yellow or green or whatever color it is. And when you do that, you really learn what these colors do when you mix them, and how they work, and how they spray in an airbrush way, or how they work in a paintbrush when you're doing paintbrush stuff. And you'll get the most out of each color. And what's going to happen is you're going to develop favorites. You're going to like this color. I love this color, so I use it a lot. And I know what to expect out of it. So it's just a great way to be, and it'll really, really, kind of solidify your painting and ability to kind of get things done, because you're not going to be guessing all the time. You know what I'm saying? Now, Createx is really good. They rarely change the colors, so that's really good. But it has happened before with paint companies where they have to change pigments, and they don't get exactly the same kind of color that they had before. So it's okay, because it just takes you adjusting to the new color and what it does. Maybe it's a little bit stronger. So where you were only adding 1 drop to yellow to your green to make a olive green, now maybe you have to add 2 drops, or you have to add a half drop. It won't take you long to figure it out. So yeah, again, and that's being really familiar with the paint. All right, I feel like I added too much yellow, but that's okay. See, you ever took course with Drew Blair because your system is totally different? I like that. Javier, no, I haven't. Drew Blair is the genius of our time. I will start with that, and I'm not blowing smoke, because the guy is ridiculously well learned in what we do. His color buffer theory is amazing, and it gets you where you need to be as far as color mixing. And I can't say enough about it. I've never taken his class. I really wanted to, just it never really worked out. But yeah, I can't say enough. All right, I'm back to the bone color. So I feel like I added a little bit too much yellow, especially in that spot that I said I wasn't going to add yellow to. So the fun part about this is I can kind of go over this thing. I'm not really hosing it down. I'm actually kind of doing it like the pattern, by just kind of like rocking the trigger and letting it build up kind of in a uneven way. So back to the Drew method. The hallmark of the Drew Blair method is that you can accurately mix any color. He teaches you how to identify those colors that you see and how to accurately mix them. And then, you can then apply them to your painting. I've always worked more transparently, which, is a lot more dangerous, because it's so easy to overshoot your colors. But I like that kind of tightrope walking. And yes, it ends up being a problem if you miss, but, it's just something that I've always been used to, having been brought up, painting watercolors, or with watercolors, which are inherently transparent. So, I kind of got used to doing it the way I do it, and, old habits die hard, I guess. Oh, thanks, Javier. Yeah, it's fun. I think everyone has a different take on it. And I love that Drew will also bring in other artists that work differently than him, and I think that highlights that whole thing, that they're all just tools in your toolbox, and you got to find the ones that work best for you. And I love that, and it's not surprising that he feels that way to a certain extent, because it's evident in the artists that come out of there. I know Bill Snagan's taken a bunch of classes with him, and obviously apparent in the quality of his work. So yeah. Timothy John Luke Smith. All right, I think that's really, that makes me happy right there. So I'm going to spin this around and you kind of get a feel for what it was. You guys focused on that? Kind of, sort of? It's hard because it's a 3D object, but we'll keep it good. So you can kind of see the progression. There's nothing, and then you can kind of see the development of the light areas, and then head on, you get a real good view of everything that's going on there. But we're getting started. I met a abstract artist named Chuck Olson, and he had a neat way of talking about how he painted, and I've kind of adopted a little bit of it for this kind of stuff. And Chuck was talking about his work as an abstract artist, and the way he described working on a painting was it was a conversation. He would make a mark on his canvas, and then he'd step back and look to see what that mark said to him in a sense. Like what's next? The mark will usually tell him what, where to go next. It was a conversation back and forth. He would then put a few more marks on, then those marks would then tell him the story. So the same thing happens with this one. So I had a kind of rough idea where I wanted to go with this, but this thing is going to take over by itself, and I love that. So immediately what I need now, looking at this, I've got the yellow, I like that. I've got the bone color, that's cool, but I need to make this more brown. And I didn't know that when I started. Looking at it, it's saying I need more brown, When you're getting into it, when you're new, that conversation doesn't necessarily come as easily to start. So you just have to try stuff. If your painting isn't talking back to you, just keep doing stuff to it. It'll start talking back either when it says, yeah, this looks great, or it looks like crap, but that's okay too, because when you have a conversation with someone and it goes in a bad way, next time not to approach that conversation in that same way. Cool, huh? Good job, Chuck Olson. All right, so brown. How now? Brown cow. I want burnt umber. Bob has become a seer. Nice. Just think, only 15 minutes till Grumpy wins. Bob, that's amazing. However, Ian would have something to say about that. Yeah, Brian, that's it. So that's what I'm talking about, because, it's super easy for me to say, oh yeah, your painting's going to tell you, exactly what to do, but it's not like that. It's not like that. A lot of times your painting, will tell you to do something that's not right. And that's not only your painting, obviously it's your brain, but you know what I'm saying. All right, I have this, the last time I ran out of burnt umber, which was, or still is, a transparent color. But then Createx came out with wicked opaque burnt umber, so I bought this. I'm trying to work with this. Ah, thanks. Yeah, I'm super happy with the way those, if you guys want to see how that all transpired, you can go back a few weeks and check out that. All right, so this should be opaque. So what am I going to do with this? I'm still going to use the Micron B for this, I think. This is an opaque color, and this is kind of not a no-no, but it's not going to... Opaque colors don't spray as well through super tiny airbrushes. However, the new opaque line does spray really well. You guys see that I use opaque black and opaque white through this brush all the time. Not this brush. I use the black through this brush, but I use the white through the Micron C all the time. I think we're going to try this straight out of the gun. Straight out of the... without adding any other color to it. And this is a good way to actually see what it's going to do. So again, I'm not as familiar with the opaque burnt umber as I am with the transparent burnt umber. So we're going to leave this just as burnt umber and see what it looks like. Sometimes I think that, yeah, 100%, Michael. And sometimes my paintings cry to me, and not in a good way. So, yeah. 20 drops of 4021, 1 drop of 4050, and a drop of paint. Yeah, all right, so let me, since anyone who didn't see that before, I'll show you the mixes I've been using a lot lately. And it's changed. I used to, trying to find them all here. I probably won't be able to find the 20:1. Here it is. It's somewhere around here. Anyway, I'll jump back to this one. So these are my pre-mixed reducers. And now again, these are all 4021. The reducer, I switched from 4011 to 4021 finally. And what I do is I mix them with 4050, the UVLS Gloss Clear. And they're in different strengths. So there's 1 to 5, 1 part 4050 to 5 parts reducer. This one's 1 to 10. Again, the smaller number is always the 4050. And this one's 1 to 2, again, 4050 to reducer, 2 parts reducer. And then this one over here is 1 to 20. Since the new reducer came out, I very, very rarely use the 1 to 20 anymore. So we'll put that one aside for a minute. I use the thicker ones a lot, 1 to 5 and 1 to 2. These two here. So I use these two a lot. And what they do is, for those who don't know, when I want to reduce the paint or help it flow a little bit better, I add this kind of concoction to it. And the reducer helps it flow through a small nozzled airbrush, and the 4050 helps it flow really smoothly. It adds a little bit of body back to it, so you don't end up over reducing it. So those are the ones I use a lot. And I very, very rarely anymore put straight reducer in the paint. So. Yes, Mr. Anderson! Congratulations, Grandpa! That's freaking awesome. I can speak from experience. Grandpa-dom is amazing. Mr. Sean, what's up, buddy? Wait, number 9. Oh, so forget it. I'm the newbie. I didn't realize that. That's awesome, Scott. Yeah, you got it, Javier. No problem. All right, so this is, let's see what this does. This is, no, you can't see. So this is straight up opaque burnt umber. Let's move this around a little bit. So, because I want to get this I want to start in the darker areas. What the heck? This magnet is super jumbo. Make sure you're focused. Focus, focus, hocus pocus. There we go. Oh, man. Sean, you got to talk to your boss. Get that straightened out. Wah, wah. All right. Let's see what it does. So we're going to start in the darkest areas just to kind of see what it does. Plus, I've got some overspray on the little strap here, so this will be a good one to kind of clean up that overspray as well while I try to see what it's going to do. All right, it sprays nice, which is not surprising, because again, it's got that whatever the opaque binder is that they use now, which is insanely awesome. So I'm going to just kind of use this to put some textures in and shadows underneath these little shapes. It's a little bit chunky, so what I mean is it's not spraying super smooth, but it's fine. If I wanted to do some super crazy tight details with this, I would just add a little bit more of that reducer to it, the 1 to 5. And I may, because I want to get, some washes on this. Oh, such a pretty color though. They did a good job. Yeah, illustration colors are generally transparent, although I think they might have some opaques. I don't know. I don't use them. Again, that is Drew Blair, the illustration line, is his line. He was developed for his method of painting. Oh, this is such a pretty color. Okay, I need to mention something too as well. Let me find that bottle again. Here it is right here. All right, so if you look at this, you see how it looks like milk chocolate? That's not the color. It's the binder that's making it look like milk chocolate. If you look at the color on here, it's much more rich, like a brownish orangey color. Once the binder gets on, dries out of it, which is happening almost right away as I'm painting, it turns into that. So again, this is a good example of try the color, get used to it. You'll never know that that's what it does, by looking at the bottle. You just got to use it. Yeah, Michael, I have. I'm done with Facebook because it just continuously just I don't know. It's just even now it's getting worse. So the algorithm is not cool at all. Like I was actually, I was getting traction on my page because I was, putting up content all the time, and everything was kind of rolling along, and then all of a sudden it was like just a wall was put up when they changed things. So it's here's the thing, like, yes, with the stars, you guys, with Facebook, I was getting revenue from the feeds when you guys gave me stars, which is amazing. So that's from you guys to me, but of course Facebook takes their cut, and that's fine. But if they're not going to do anything to promote creators, which they were actually, like I said, it was just the opposite. I went from just standard, just an expected amount of growth every week, every month, to having the door closed. And if they're not going to support creators, I'm not going to have them take money from you for nothing. You know what I mean? So YouTube is great. I see, steady growth in YouTube, and I've always kind of enjoyed the YouTube platform anyway. And like I said, I think whoever was here, the final nail in the coffin was when they said they were going to start deleting live streams after whatever it is, 30 days or 90 days or whatever. I love that you can go back and watch a live stream with maybe some information that that you need. I love that. So having Facebook just decide to get rid of that after a certain amount of time, and that's fine. I guess it's their servers and everything, but it's not like they're not making money. So that's the other side of it too. So there we go. That's my Facebook bitch fest. Now it looks like I'm turning this in a way you guys won't be able to see it, but I'm going to be painting on this side right here. Make sure we're focused on that. It's hard to get it lined up on the 3D object. So you're going to see this brown really well because it's going to be pretty prominent right in here on the outside of his eye socket here. Yeah, this is spraying really, really nice. I have it fairly opaque. I don't have a ton of reducer in this, or 40-50, because I kind of wanted to see what it was going to do, and I'm kind of getting stuff all over this tentacle, which makes me sad, but because I should be blocking that off. Yeah, I can fix it, but I really shouldn't have had to, because it would have taken just kind of grabbing one of these little templates and blocking that off like that, and then I wouldn't have got anything on it. So that's a what could go wrong moment right there. Ah, it's such a nice color though, huh? All right. When I'm kind of in here, like this close, this micron puts paint on the infinity. So I don't need to mask anything off when I'm doing this kind of stuff, because the paint is literally going just where I want it to. You know what I mean? It's so tight, there's no overspray anyway. For this stuff, I should reduce it a little bit. It give me a little bit more control, but say it with me. What could go wrong? What else is going on? Speaking of grandchildren, we are just about to move into July. In July, my grandson will be 1 year old, which is crazy because it feels like he was just born. I will be traveling to New England for the party. I plan on being back, but I will let you guys know what's going on. If I'm going to miss, something, I will let you guys know. Angry Stitch is a good one. All right, I don't want to go too crazy with this. I feel like I'm starting to overdo it, which is likely. So it's because it's fun. It's fun, and that's what happens. You overdo it. Oh, wait, it's showtime. Thanks, honey. See, I'm paying attention. All right, so let me switch back to this. And again, Watch this. I just pull this off because it's got a maggot on it. Look at that thing. That is a hella neodymium magnet too. I'll take this out so you can see it. I got this in my, this was in my, Amazing Magnets will sometimes have a bag of magnets, and it's like random stuff that's like damaged, or like this one has a dent in the bottom. But they'll just throw a bunch of weird stuff in a bag, and you pay I think it was like $8, and you get a whole bunch of stuff. But this thing is like if I put this on here, it's going to be super hard to get this off. I'll give you an example of this. So I can put my fingers here, and this is it's going through my fingers to the board. It's super, super strong. Anyway, so that's the magnet we're using for that. But that's not why you're here. You're here to see who won a painting tonight. Let's do that. I will show you the paintings again. So we're all up to speed. There were only two. Jeff Simon's Super Duty Firebird 455, the crazy LST motor, and Brother Robert's Tall Ship in the Mist. Those are your two. Now these don't have mats on them right now. I ran out of mats, but they are on order. They should be in here any minute. So, if you win one and get this, it will show up with a mat. Just I ran out for a second. Okay. That being said, let's go to the thing. Thank you all for being here, by the way, while I do this. And thank you all for hitting that like and subscribe, because, who doesn't want to like and subscribe stuff? All right, let me find my list of potential winners. Potential. Let's go back to this real quick. It's kind of washed out. I'll focus it. There's your list. There's Grumpy at 3. Natesh was in last week with a good one. Ian's there at number 7. Kelly Drake. We got a lot of UKers on this list. All right. What am I doing? This one. 8 fantastic people. Did you memorize the list? Because your winner is number 3. Bob knows. Bob knows all. Grumpy, congratulations. Ian, what the heck? Ian, I'm just going to send you a painting. Well, no, Ian will win. I know Ian's going to win. So, Grumpy, you know what's up. So, Grumpy, if you would like either one of these two, just let me know by the end of the feed, and I will not put them on the website. But if you want to take your time and go on the website and look at all of them and pick one, that's cool too. If Grumpy does not pick either one of these two will go up on my site right after. And yes, you can use the discount on them. What discount is that? Summer 25 will get you 40% off everything. Only tonight. Tonight is the last night. This ran for 2 weeks and the sale's just about over. But please take advantage of this. You can get an original painting. You can get hundreds off an original painting. In some cases, over 1,000. More than a couple cases. So yeah, take advantage of this. It's gone after tonight, the 30th. Can I have the Firebird, please? No, you can't. Sorry. You have to pick another one. Nah, I'm just kidding. You got it, man. This is yours. So now, Grumpy, what I need you to do is go to my website and send me, when the little chat box opens up that says send me a message and give me your shipping address, and I will get this matted and out in the mail to you. So there you go. Congratulations, Grumpy. Yeah, don't put your address in the chat unless you want, everyone to show up at your house for, burgers and fries. No, fish and chips. Are all French fries chips in the UK? And if so, what are oh, you call potato chips crisps, right? So crisps are chips to us, and chips are something you get at the casino. Curry. That's awesome, Grumpy. That's great. I love fish and chips. Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, back to it. Let's put some of this. I wanted to get to the whatever it is, coral, mold, whatever. So we're going to do that. But first with this guy, ooh, where'd happened to the magnet? There it is. I didn't put the magnet pack in. Like, what the hecko? Yeah, no, it's not weird. We do call that fish and chips here. But they're like steak fries though. You know, chips are, I don't know how that works. What the hell? See if they should set it on fire and then give it to him. Michael, he's waited so long. Right now, Ian is unsubscribing. He's like, screw that guy. I'm not going to win a painting. Ian's getting a painting. Oh, I love fish and chips. We have it's a place called Ricky's. Oh man, now this isn't sticking. And I just put the magnet on here and I'm never going to get it off. Son of a bitch. Oh man. So what you can't see right down here, that magnet I was just telling you about that I said if it gets on the board, it's never coming off, is on the board. And I can't get it off. I literally can't pry this thing off. Let me see if I can push it up, maybe to the edge. No, I can't show you. I was going to say I'll show you my struggles, but oh my gosh, that's on there like nobody's business. What can I get under there? Oh, I know what I can do. Rusty's Wharf. That sounds really good. Yeah, there's a place called Ricky's English Pub here, and it's they've got a great fish and chips. I'm positive it's traditional. Come on, man. Holy smoke. I may not be able to get this off right now. Wah! What the heck? Oh, I know what to do. There's a hole in it, so will this work? No, that broke. Oh boy. Nah, I got this. What else do I got? What kind of tools do I got? I need a screwdriver. That's what I need. Just so happens. I said, just so happens. I got one right here. Steve, what's up, buddy? Yeah, that worked. Okay. So now I know how to get this off. So here's the jumbo magnet. Now it's on there, and like I said, there's no way to get anything underneath this. But it's got a hole in it. I have my broken nozzle thing. You put that in there, and you use like smarts to get that off. All right. Roadkill Cafe. Oh, that sounds really good. See, the thing is, Michael, where you are though, to get good like seafood, that's totally possible. Here in Ohio, it's not as possible because we're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you can get lake fish, which is really good, but yeah, I am looking forward to getting back home for some proper ocean food. All right, what am I doing? I'm doing that. Let me move that out like that, maybe like that. Yeah, because I want plenty of light on that. I love waffles. Who said waffles? I know, what could go wrong? I'll show you. Just give me time. I'll show you. We got it. It's working out. I got this. Somewhat. Oh, that's much better. Okay, here we go. Ta-da! We're back. All right, so I want to get this coral going on here. So I have no idea what I'm doing. Coral? Whatever. So let me think about this for a second. So I've got the blue, because I could do this whatever this mold stuff that I'm about to paint on here. I could do this in any color. So let's think about this for a second. I've got the tentacles with the silvery whatever, the blue, and then the skin-colored suckers. Since this is going to be a Spraygunner thing, the mask, this part of the mask is the face part of the mask is going to be Spraygunner orange. I've got the brown in there, so I guess just a green will do. Yeah, just a green. Wait, what do we got? I know. See, that's the thing about where you're at, Michael. Oh my God, crab cakes from where you are. Oh, now I'm hungry. Yeah, we do have all kinds of scampi. Ooh, I love that too. Shrimp shrimpy is one of my favorites. Scallops and steamed shrimps together. You gotta stop. I've never had prawn before though. I want that. I want to try that. Like I want to also go down to like the South Coast, like Louisiana, and have like proper like, you know, when they put paper on the table and then throw all the food all over it. I want that too. All right, so let's do some brush work because I want this to be kind of, I want there to be contrast in this. So I'm going to need to come up with a base color, but I don't want to, well, we'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to, we'll see what happens. Is this going to work? Yeah, it's going to work. Okay. So what am I going to do for this? Let's start with a yellow again. Again, we're going for a green, but I want to try to use a color here that's not going to be too loud to start. And this is going to be loud, but it's going to be mostly covered over. And then I want to grab one of the brushes that's seen a little bit more use. This is a size 1, but it's had it. I do have some new brushes, but I'm not going to use them for this because this is going to be more scumbly. So same thing, let's pull some of this yellow out. This is going to be really bright, so I'm going to add some white to it, which you would think, oh man, that's going to make it more bright, but it doesn't. It gives it more of a pastel look. So, and that's kind of what we're going for. The white is obviously opaque and the yellow is not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start mapping out this, like, whatever this fungus mold is going to be. And again, I use this lighter color because the details are going to be a lot darker and more vibrant, I guess. So this just gives me that kind of base coat to kind of start working it. Now I know I'm kind of tucking it in where I sprayed all that brown, but again, it's experiment. You know, it's just kind of messing around with it and coming out with something cool. New England fishing boat in the harbor. It'd be lobster boat. Love lobster. Seafood boil. That's what I was thinking of. Oh my gosh, you guys. All right, so yeah, I like that. So that's a good first coat. See what I mean about not being tremendously like, oh my God, that's crazy in your face. So that gives me some stuff to work with. A quick story about Massachusetts. When I was working at Bear Air, which was in Massachusetts, Bear Air is essentially was in the 2000s was like was like Spraygunner and Coast Airbrush. That's all they did was sell airbrush supplies, but they were in the East Coast. Or I guess Spraygunner is also in the East Coast, but they were up in New England. So anyway, so I was working with them. It was great. That's where I met Scott. Taught a lot of classes with them. Did a lot of stuff with them, and I was there full time. And so during the class, we gave 2 classes a month there. And one was a intro to airbrushing, which I did, and then Scott did the intro to automotive airbrushing. This is just that new Game Tech paint. So I grabbed this olive green color, this interior green, because I need a gross green color here. So anyway, so I did the intro class, and for a stretch, there were these 2 guys that were taking the classes almost all the time. So they took about 6 of the intro classes, which was fine because what would happen was if someone retook the intro class, I would, you know, they were small classes, like 10 to 12 people. I would give repeat people different stuff to do. So it was a lot of fun. So I've got this green now. It's also pretty transparent. So I'm just going to kind of start building up this weird texture. So the thing I loved about these guys was not only did they show up all the time, but they were both commercial fishermen, and they would come in with fresh scallops all the time, like literally in a bag, like not frozen, not nothing. And they would go, here you go. And I am telling you, man, I never ate so good. They were awesome. I miss those guys. So that's it. That's my scallop story. I love scallops. Scallops are one of my favorite seafoods. All right. Oh, this is perfect. This was a good choice. Again, you know, we talk about like the complexity of a color. It makes it what it is, makes it more interesting. The fact that I have that yellow base under there that's kind of poking through here and there, It's almost invisible except in some spots, but it adds a lot to it. You know what I'm saying? I should have brown out. Brown out? No, that's not what I meant to say. They're paying the way in food. Yeah, no, they paid for the class and gave me food. It was amazing. I love those guys. Okay, so this is again that opaque burnt umber. So I'm just going to grab some of that, and I'm going to do the same thing. Now every pass has a little less paint. And the reason for that is because I want stuff to show up. I want that green to show up. I want that yellow to show up. You know, I want to kind of use each pass to kind of add, not cover. You know what I'm saying? Now, if it went sideways and I needed to fix something, that's a different deal. But everything's going pretty good. Actually, in fact, I don't think I have enough green in this yet. But again, that's something that, same deal. It's always easier to add than it is to try to take away. Astro, what's good, man? It's good to see you. Good, I like that. Oh, that's stunning. Okay, I need a more in-your-face green, so we're going to use the Game Text Scale Modeling Green 22. Green 22. Did I even open this one? Yeah, I did. These paints are designed to brush better than airbrush paint, but you can also airbrush with them, which is kind of the holy grail. This is a super bright green. Well, we'll see what it does. And then they hold up well. What I need paints to do, which I never ask of an airbrush company, is ideally a paint should stay open longer to be a good brush paint. And what that means is it needs to stay wet for you to really get a good, you know, kind of a good brush paint with. It's why enamel paints work so well with scale modeling, because they stay open for a long time. You can brush for a while with them. You know, the downside is they do take longer to dry, and that's, you know, that's okay too. However, for brush painting, you can just go and go and go. It's like oil painting. You know, when you use oils instead of acrylics, oils just stay wet on the brush longer than everything else. Now, it's unfair to ask a airbrush company to make a paint that does absolutely everything, but if they're asking, you know, that's what it is. Limelight green. Oh, that's awesome. From Limelight. Yeah. Yeah, this is quite gnarly. I like it. All right. So now that's good. That's pretty bright. So I'm going to need to tone that down a little bit. So to tone that down, we're going to use some black and the burnt umber. So we're going to come out with a darker, maybe, no, it's going to add a little bit of green to it, but the burnt umber has kind of an olivey feel to it anyway. So this, again, every layer has less, and that's totally true with this as well. Actually, you know what? I don't know if it's the humidity or what, but this is kind of open. It's not quite dried out yet on the surface, which is nice. Excellent. Again, I don't know if that's the humidity in the room here or if that's really how it's supposed to be, but we're definitely going to keep messing with it. Make sure that, see if that's really what it is. Again, you know, like this is a lot bolder color than anything I've used so far. So the bolder the color, the less that goes on. It's 112. Oh my gosh, Steve. Yeah, but Steve, it's a dry heat. I love that. Yeah, so is my oven. Ah, this is fun. It almost, I gotta be careful that it doesn't end up looking like poop. Oop, as I drop my paintbrush, that's punishment for saying poop. Yeah, I don't want it to look like poo, so I gotta be careful of that. But I'm digging that. So what I'm gonna do is this color, since that worked out really well, is I'm gonna add a little bit of reducer to it, and I'm gonna continue that texture down in the areas where I had just when I sprayed the burnt umber in here. I'm just going to add some texture in there, and I'll do that with the paintbrush so I don't have to worry about getting overspray on the tentacles. See, I didn't say it. I could have said it, but I didn't. Oh, I love that. I'm going to tilt this a little bit more to you guys so you can see it. But that makes me happy. Now, the downside of what I just did was I did all that, right? And I'm really super happy with that, right? But I really need to remember what I did now when I go over the other side. Now, normally what I would do is I would take each step across the entire thing. So that way I wouldn't have to guess. But the good news is I have the colors on my palette, so I'll be able to reproduce it without too much trouble. And if I really forget, I can always rewatch the feed. Why? Because the feed is on YouTube and not on Facebook, and it could be there. Yeah, absolutely. You could use a natural sponge to get that effect. I'm a creature of habit. I use a paintbrush so much that that's my go-to. But yeah, if you had a tiny little, sponge that you could dab on there, that would give a really, really cool effect. Also, different styles of brushes. This is obviously an eraser brush, but that's not a good example, but you get the idea. Plus, I don't know, what would happen if you use an eraser on this? I also don't know how strong this stuff is either, the new paint here that I had. Let's see what happens. What could go wrong? Stop it. Let's turn it this way. I'm going to make sure you guys are focused so you can see the what could go wrong moment for real. There we go. No. All right. What the kneaded eraser did, I just did a tiny little spot there. Can you see it? It literally burned right all the way down to the black. So forget that idea. However, it would be a really cool effect if I wanted all these raised textures to come back out. I could erase on top of them and it would pull out all those. They'd be like jet black, without having to paint them. That's pretty cool. But that's not what I want. So I'm not going to do that. So now I got to fix that, which shouldn't be too hard. I'll just grab some white in this yellow and let's put that, cover that hole. Whoops. Oh, but you know what? Since I've got this here now, why not? I've got the little bone color here, so we'll add some speckles. Actually, I'm going to turn this a little bit so I get a better angle. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a hold of Artem at Spraygunner, and we'll find a way to give this away. We'll have some sort of contest, if he's up for it. All right, Bob, have a great one, buddy. We're almost done anyway, so we're in good shape. Yeah, that actually looks cool. I feel like it needs a tie together, just some color to tie together. So again, start thinking about the whole thing. I've got the silver bluey stuff here, so I could use blue up here. That would tie the veins to the skull, but that's a little bit close. I've got the brown, but I've already got brown in here. Orange. Orange is going to be, this whole mask is going to be bright orange. So orange is the color we're going to use. And again, these are just going to be tiny little spotty details like what I just did. But this little shock of orange, these little tiny, tiny, tiny orange details are going to tie back into the mask and kind of hold everything together. So we'll just pick a few spots and add these little, we'll just call them growths, little orange flowers on this whatever this moss is that's growing. Yes, lovely. All right. Final step. Which brush has black in it? Oops, almost lost that one, which is good. I didn't. Oh, good. Okay. The Infinity has black in it. All right, so now I just got to tie it all together. And I'm going to use black for this. And it's going to be basically around the edges. So you see where the spots are really bright near the back? I don't want that. I want it kind of subtle as it moves around this thing. So by kind of darkening those areas that were originally dark and kind of knocking those details down a little bit in the back, it just helps to kind of make it look real. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like this weird dot pattern that's everywhere. It fades away in some spots, it pops out in others, and you get this kind of complex, weird pattern. Growths, exactly. You know what I'm saying? And I could throw a little bit of texture in this because it's super light, super thin. So by just kind of running through this thing and add a little bit of texture, again, all that does is that helps tie everything together. You know, it just gives it a uniformity that it didn't have when I was just kind of adding layer upon layer and having it look real weird. So that's good. That gives it a little bit of something. All right, so let me, how am I going to do this? I want to lift this up a little bit so that you guys see it from more of a, yeah, I'll change the camera in a second. I just want to give it a little bit more of a natural look. Yeah, so I took away my super crazy overhead lighting, and it'll give you a much better, like real room light type of feel. Maybe a little bit of light. Yeah, like that. So there we go. Fun, right? Craziness. And look, I got something done. I mean, you know, something. So again, I talked about like maybe I should have sanded the 3D, like, but in the end you're not going to see anything because I'll have texture in the front too, but it'll be more of a subtle texture, like white, like, you know, kind of a bony texture in the front, and that'll also help fill in these little. There were little 3D printed stems there, which I also didn't sand off, but all that will be covered up too, so it'll be pretty easy. All right, so again, don't hold me anything about giving this away, but I will start the ball rolling. Oops, I'll start the ball rolling on that so that maybe we can. But it's gonna have to be something crazy because I've already put too much time into this. So I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? I'm doing this. So congratulations to Grumpy. Finally got his win. We'll get the rest of those out too. Ian's gonna win one, and Patty and Wayne and all the people who are on the list. We'll get you the win. Don't worry about it. And yeah, if you guys have any suggestions on what you'd like to see for Monday night, please let me know. Sorry about the camera in the way. Monday night is your night. You know, I'll do whatever. We do open studio on Wednesday nights, which is what's happening in the studio, which is the Tokyo painting. And the time-lapse video is always a 5:43, so that's like kind of, you know, me doing what's going on in the studio. So Monday night's really for you guys. So if you have a suggestion, don't hesitate to let me know. There are plenty of ways to do that. The best way to do that is just send me a message on my website at stephenleahy.com, where you can save 40% off of everything right now. Don't forget that. Do that tonight. It ends tonight. So you can send me a message there. That's easily the best place. Again, Facebook is weird. I can't check my messages on my phone. I have to use my computer. So that's not a good place to do that. Instagram can be kind of wonky because, again, it's all tied together. So yeah, send me a message on my website if you want me to do something specific for you. And if not, I'll just keep picking stuff. So that's good too. All right, so that's what I got. So thank you everyone who came by and hung out and did all the, you know, liking and subscribing and all that fun stuff. You guys are the best. And have a great week. Stay warm if you're in Australia, and stay cool if you're everywhere else. And I will catch you guys next week. Have a good one. I don't know what you're going to see when I pull this. Oh, you're going to see Corvette lights. All right. Talk to you guys later.